YouTube, you already know Big Flacco from a convict's perspective, coming directly from the Pima County Jail, unfortunately. But I still send my salutes, respects to everybody out there. Hope everybody's having a positive day. I still got to do what I do, which is smash, dash, and slide on through with a whole lot of energy. So please hit the like, subscribe, comment. Do all this to help support your boy and hit that bell notification for future fire content. So I got some people from the ACP team that are joining me today, as you already know. M-Star Media.
Saludos.
Right? Mad Max, how are you? How are you guys doing?
What's up, people?
We're doing great.
We're doing
How
awesome.
Are you?
How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. You know, things are coming really quickly with me. You guys are probably gonna hear the story about my story, what's happened in the last 2 years, probably in about maybe 2 weeks, guys. About 2 weeks time frames. So, we want to talk about something because my celly brought this up because I was telling them about the SNY, the non-designated program yards. We were talking about what we're hearing with IHP, inter-housing program, integrated housing program, excuse me. And we're talking about, for those that are just there to do their time, whether you're active, right, or whether you're just on the SNY or non-designated program sites, there's a lot of regular civilians that you have no choice but to, attach yourself to some type of group, north or south. It's going to be even more so. There's no asylum, right, which is how my silly told me. He goes, there's no asylum or sanctuary for those that don't want to be involved in the mix. You're going to have STG groups on all sides, and there's going to, people getting prepared for war on all sides. And I've heard this in Arizona, and I've heard this in California because of basically the policies and procedures that the feds have tried to influence in Arizona and in California. They've been trying to integrate for a long, long time. Now, you guys talked to several individuals, ex-NF members, ex-NR members, and even some that are ex-Mexican Mafia associates. Am I right?
That's correct.
That's right.
So I put you in contact with a lot of people I know, and they've been giving you information about this, right? And the things that's different is that some of these people that we should be high-power individuals in these organizations, they're going to be out there too. There's going to be no expectations of who this is going to be. They're not going to hide certain people out. It seems like they're trying to reintegrate now on the level 3, level 4 side from what we're hearing.
Right, that's the word that we're getting, from people on the level 4 yard. They're, and they don't think it's going to work. I mean, I have to be honest with you, Flacco, just if I was on a GP yard and they try to do that, it would be mandatory. What's up. I don't want to say too much, but how as a northerner when we go to yards, we'd always have to worry about, hey, if it's cracking there, or if it's not a good yard, we have to get off. If they integrate these yards, every yard's going to be guaranteed you're going to have to get off, and I just don't see how whoever's in charge is actually okay with this. This is not a smart idea.
Well, I think that they really don't care, to be honest with you. I think that they want the bloodshed. I think that they want to have more spending. I think that they want to. In Arizona, what they did is that they offered promises. They offered fucking, a PlayStation room. They gave them the PlayStation room. They offered them barbecues once a month. They haven't been able to do that, but they've been getting special. They've been offered to, go to a zone 2 instead of a zone 3, which, you got different levels of what you can acquire from the store or your visits or whatnot. So they've been offering people the perks. In Arizona, it's taking hold big time. You know what I'm saying? There's those that still have the GP mindset that they are signing the partial IHP. And so that's how they're getting around it. But eventually they're going to be all IHP regardless if you want to sign just with your race or not. It's not going to be accepted. It's the same thing with the non-designated program yard. There's no more SNY yards, they say. There's yards that operate and have people that would fall under the SNY chronos, I guess. But I don't know. It's kind of tricky to see how they're working because they started doing this in 2016, 17. I've actually read some cases that we should discuss. Slowly with the level 1, level 2 yards, and there's a reason why you can't go to a level 1 yard nowadays. It's because everybody there is inactive.
Right.
Come on, guys.
So,
okay, just jump in how you.
So I think that from everything that I know that. There is a reason why, the yards are in place as they are now. I am speaking to one ex NF member who literally stays in his cell unless he's working, not to, get involved in anybody's, as he puts it, drama. So, I mean, there might be a lot of people doing that from here on out if this comes to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be the mature level and what they want. I think there's going to be a lot more people that are going to actually flip, because what I'm seeing in over here is I'm seeing a mindset, man. Like I'm in almost an IHP jail. It seems like it is an IHP jail basically, without being called an IHP. It's been like this for years, where they've integrated everybody. They don't let you sell up if you don't race something here. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you can see a white with a swastika, something for the black dude. You know what I'm saying? And then the next you know, they're best of friends out here. It's a trip, man. And so I don't know how it's going to work. Because, see, what happens really is if people start to go more that way, what happens is the organizations that traditionally run California start to lose hold of their foot soldiers. If they start to lose hold of their foot soldiers, eventually they're going to lose their power. If that happens. And there's always that process that slowly can happen. And I've said that. There's one thing that I've said that could honestly happen, right, is this. Say you have individuals from like a big hood, right, or from a city that has a very good palabra in that town, right? They're recognized as very respected, honored, they put in so much work. Say one of them falls out politically, they're going to have still so much influence on that hood. Just that's how the Bulldogs came about. That's how Montevilla went their route, and that's how other hoods have gone about certain situations like that. Out there in Sacramento, there's a big influence of riders just based upon Snoop. Based upon those that have loyalty to Snoop. So as this goes along, how people play their politics and how leadership progress is going to have a lot to do with how people feel they're being treated. If people feel like they're being used, right? If people are tired of walking 8-man details where a man has to have an 8-man to watch him so he's safe, right? There's going to come a time when people are going to be like, what the fuck? Who is this? Who are they? They're not better than me. There's that mindset that people have because nobody likes to be, inferior. And so we've always, in the teaching, there's always been equality, but you're not seeing equality. You're seeing that if you're a made member here, you're superior. And there's a lot of dudes on that are active and inactive that probably feel like, man, this dude can't whoop me. This dude can't see me on his best day. And that mindset there, when you start to see people get special perks and your best friends get hit because they freelanced and sold some dope or they didn't want to kick in a percentage, there's always that bad taste in a lot of people's mouths of what they see. Now as they start to integrate, there's always a chance that this could have an adverse effect, you know what I'm saying, with the GP yards to where more people start to go one way. Because I'm seeing people here, they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? There's people here that are signing in ISP, but they don't give a fuck about none of it. They don't care. People aren't taking care of their own trash anymore. They don't care about that. I've seen that in this jail myself. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when this goes throughout every state, right? Not just AZ, California's doing it, and other states are doing the same thing because it's just like the 3-strike law. When the 3-strike law came out, right? Fucking every other state started to adapt it. Okay, this Newland project that they're doing in California, it's the same thing in Arizona. The same thing that they're offering, the same perks and all that, same fucking thing. If you go IHP, now if you don't, you resist, you get treated on the back end of things.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's talk about the logistics of this. Like, I mean, is there any scenarios where you can actually see it working? Because I've been thinking about, hey, if I had to go back and if I'd still be GP, and I could actually, I might be able to live with it as long as they don't put anybody with funny charges. I could deal with the people that debriefed and all that. Even I just don't want any sex crimes. That's the only thing I couldn't live with.
That's not going to work that way, though. I mean, these people aren't going to care that these people don't have those type of jackets. They're going to want you to put some steel up in them. So people are going to have to decide that if they're willing to sacrifice and catch a case, catch a body, catch a life, because that's basically what people are telling you. If they're the other side, they're the enemy. There's no chance at freedom. There's no chance at peace. And there's no chance in freedom. You know what I'm saying? And that's true because everybody's still acknowledging another man. I don't mind that fucking every man's down on his own 2 feet. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's like before, back in the 60s, that's how it was. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these gangs kind of, were created to protect each other. From people who had fucking, deviant behaviors or wanted to go take another man's manhood or just wanted to extort people. That's what it was all created for. But the thing that happened is all these groups got strong with numbers and now they turn on their own. I don't hear nobody talking about the Cosa. I don't hear nobody talking about the Lucha. I haven't heard none of that shit for fucking years. And in fact, in the early 2000s, those words weren't really announced. As soon as Operation Black Widow happened, the NF was trying to fucking had a fight for control. Therefore, the first implementations were all NF members were fucking, superior in power and authority, and everybody was under their umbrellas, so everybody had to get in line. Nobody could question what's going on. And that's a problem for me as a man. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind catching a case anywhere for the right reasons. But I'd be damned to do it just because another motherfucker doesn't like these people or that people. You know what I'm saying? And this comes from someone that used to live and die this on a day-to-day basis, But, my mindset's really, really seeing things for what it is. It's different,
Absolutely.
It's different.
Absolutely. Yeah, this whole... Go on.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say that the only way for them to work right is if they decide to focus their attention more on administration and say, "Fuck this, we're not going to give you what you want. We want more rights. We're tired of fucking medical mistreatment. We're tired of you not fucking taking care of people's mental health. We're tired of you staging us and putting us in a position to where we have to get violent and catch cases." Until that happens, you have to have some type of communication. You have to have some people that are willing to sit at the table. Some people that are willing to put their pride to the side, And with all this shit that they've already done in the state, I don't see why not. If it's all about money, there's ways to fucking, if you have a real leader is not going to go with the flow and the trend of everybody else. Someone within these groups needs to stand out. When is the last time have you really seen any leadership form from behind the walls? Right? Black Bob did so. The last guys that tried to do it in the state, they kind of fell, right? Look where they're at now. They're in the feds, worried about getting fucking poked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And leadership in the feds, they're incommunicado somewhere in Florence, barely able to make any type of contact. Have to use fucking Twitter to get their messages out to people, right? And you got people under them that are trying to make things work. Someone has to really step up with the influence that can have the charisma to get the people behind them. I said that before. If the North and South got together and said, "Fuck these organizations," they could take them over real quick. It was like nothing. You know what I'm saying? But you got to have leaders, and you got to have a cause that people believe in. You have to have that common enemy, the common denomination for people to have that foundation to start. And get honest about things. Honesty is the cornerstone to everything, right? In life that you build off of. That cornerstone. If you have something that's honest, that's real, and you approach people with the proper leaderships and put it out there, people could follow. They could take heed. But people a lot of times are afraid. You know what I'm saying? And that's the truth.
Absolutely.
Anyways, what else do you guys think about it?
No, I absolutely agree with you on everything you just said right there. It's being open to change. It's being honest about everything, and letting go of that fear of change.
People are just...
True leaders speak, though. You know what I mean? True leaders speak out the truth. And you know what I mean? And that's why, some leaders I've met in my life were the ones that went against the grain, but were still part of the group that you couldn't contest what they had to say. Yeah. Those were true leaders. You get what I'm saying? Not these true followers that they will back up things that are wrong. A lot of times people are afraid to lose their positions or lose their power or lose their support, so they stay hum, right? And they accept it. Whether it's right or wrong, there's always a way for change. Evolution. We got to evolve. Advancement demands change. So, like I said, there's a lot of trash on all sides, though. There's a lot of greed on all sides. So I don't know if there's really a solution, and it may take years for everything to work its way out.
Yeah, I don't know if I can actually see it coming to that point where you're talking about it. Like, in theory, it sounds good. I just don't, there's just too much. There's too much ego, too much pride involved. Too much people are stubborn, don't want to. They're just set in their ways of thinking, and But I mean, it can be done. It definitely can be done.
Well, it's like this. So you got people nowadays, right? And I come from an era when you don't request where you can go. You say, I used to tell I used to tell the fucking correctional officers when I went to fucking ICC, in the 90s, send me wherever you want to send me. You can send me on the fucking what was it, the yard, or was it the 5 yard in Quinton or 1 yard in Quinton? I don't know. 1 yard was in DVI, 5 yard was in St. Quentin, I believe. Was surrounded around. I don't care where you send me. I never would sit there and discuss my affiliations, even though they knew. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm active," or "Do you function?" You know, I'm not active. You wouldn't hear those fucking phrases. And if you did, you would try to go out to the yard and handle your business. The opportunity's there. If you want to go out to one of these yards and go get that ass and handle your business, you can do so now. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised that they don't have people signing those carlos to go fucking get people that are key targets. I'm really surprised. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody could go. And the thing is the difference now, though, guys, is what we're hearing is it's affecting people of SCG status now. You know, not just active like, you know, NF and MA members and associates, but people like the 2-5ers, right? The riders, and also dudes that, like, you know, some people I know that stepped away from that stuff that were high power at one time. There's no asylum for anybody to go nowadays. And my Sally told me that. I'm like, fuck, you're right, man. There's no sanctuary. If you want to just do your time and just, even as a citizen, there's a lot of people who catch crimes, never gangbang before. They're a civilian, but since they're Rasta, they have to run with somebody, right? And next thing you know, they're involved in some type of shit that they never even thought they were even getting involved in. And we're not just talking about fucking residents. We're talking about resident civilians, you know? They have to rock with somebody. And sometimes they choose to go to the SMI sides, and maybe they don't have any bad crimes. They don't have bad paperwork. They just want to do their fucking time. Now they're taking that from people. You know, because when you get to a yard and you're GP and you're 19 years old, and you get to one of these yards, because it happened to me, you're fucking nervous knowing that everybody on that yard is bad. You know what I'm saying? I went to CMC East in the 90s. I know damn well that either there was hella active Southsiders that were young, right?
Right.
If there was hella people that were north that were no good on that yard, there was bulldogs on the yard and everything. I was scared shitless, but I made sure I didn't stay on that yard. Right, and luckily I got the right target. But you know what? I would have got any John Doe just to get off on that yard, to be honest with you. Anyone just to get off, because it's a scary position to be put in, you know? That's what's going to happen too. And then you're going to have people who are going to be lying. You're going to have people that are going to be locking up and fucking R&R and, you know, all of a sudden their paperwork is missing or this and that, you know? There's ways to get your paperwork after that, right? But you're going to hear different stories, and you're going to see people buying time while they're in the hole, and, you know, people locking it up and then going out there. It's going to occur. There's a lot of people who, believe it or not, you know, for as much as you know, the stories that you hear about the survivors that fucking stand on the front line and make those sacrifices, yeah, it sounds good. There's a few of them that do. Every place has them that will get down like that. But you also got those dudes that will run and sit and hide in the shadows, and nobody ever talks about that. They try to get a free ride. There's no free ride no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be everywhere. I'm hearing that about, you know, I'm about to step into a place as someone that doesn't know anybody, no politics or anything involved with me, and I'm going to be witness to what's going to happen now. You know, there's a lot of shit going on over here. There's a lot of different crews, and, you know, every man for himself is how I look at it. Every man for himself.
Yeah. I'm excited and fearful to see what you're up against.
You speak of every man.
Right.
You speak of every man for himself. Well, I actually did time in another state, North Carolina, and before my paperwork followed me, and then they found out I was part of STG out here, and they slammed me down. I was on the main line there, and it was every man for themselves. It shipped me out, and you know what? It was actually okay.
That's how it is. Yeah, it is, bro. It's kind of, you know, there's going to be those that like the last part I was in, you know, there were some people out there that were like, you know, of status, you know, back home, like kind of like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I gravitated for their thing out here, and I gravitated towards them, and they were cool, solid, you know what I mean? You know, over here where I'm at now, you got a whole bunch of dudes that are fucking thieves and fucking rolling it up from place to place and don't want to jump on a dude because, you know, they don't want to go to the hole, you know, and I distance myself from more people here. My best friend in here is a Crip right now that I rock with, you know what I mean? You know?
Right.
And cool. I do talk to our roster, like, no, you're gonna have no one on your show, and you know, I want to kick it with them too, right? But all the other people, man, red flags, and that's every man for himself. So you got to remember too, like when it's every man for himself, you got to pick and choose and look how people conduct themselves. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can see the weak and you can see the strong. You can see that there's a lot of people who they live like dope fiends in here. Does that make sense? The drug addict in them doesn't leave them. You know what I'm saying? And that's something in jail you have to leave. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, accepting thievery and all kinds of shit. That's the kind of shit you're going to see on these IHP, non-designated program yards, because you hear about that in SMY. You know what I'm saying? But it's no longer going to be viewed as PC, and that's what people need to realize. Whether you go, there's no more SMI really no more. You know, there's kept in the yards that are looked at as SMIs, and you know, they're supposed to do away with all the SMI condos, but they're still giving people condos, from my understanding. Eventually, it's going to be all gone, though. And when they're all gone, they can't call the other man a PC no more. You know what I'm saying? They can't call that man this and that. You know, you're going to see where and the fucked up thing about it is in California, 70% of the people are on SMI yards.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's you know, and they've been rocking harder on those yards than they do on the GP yards. You know what I'm saying? Way harder. You know? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, fortunately, there's been a couple instances I know, you know, I mean, the only time it was really rocking hard was in 2011 and 2012 when the Northerners killed the Southsider and the Southsiders declared war statewide. Right? Other than that, nobody's really had to face war for a long time. It's 2025. They've been out on these yards enjoying all the perks and privileges. Well, now that's coming to an end soon. We'll see what everybody's about. With that said, I got nothing more to add. You guys?
No, we're good.
No,
Thank
you
you,
said
guys.
it all, brother.
All right. With that said, I hope you guys have a positive day.